What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another Champions League fantasy video, this time for Matchday 2. The Matchday 1 video went really well, so as long as that continues, we might even cover the whole Champions League campaign on this channel this season. So if you do enjoy these videos, make sure to give them a like and hit that subscribe button. If you're new around here, if you're not playing Champions League and you're waiting for FPL content, that will still be the main content on this channel for most days, but I'm just waiting as long as possible to get all the up-to-date information, because if I start making videos about game week 8 now, it could all be useless once we find out which fixtures are on. So I'm trying to wait for the news that we need to start talking about transfers, chip strategy, and all that stuff. So FPL content will definitely come this week. Do not panic. So for Champions League, let's look at Matchday 1. I'm still frustrated by this. I made the biggest rookie mistake you can make in this format, right? And it will be the same for the World Cup fantasy that happens as well, because it's all the same kind of way to play, where you can sub players in during the match day. So you have your players on the Tuesday, and then for any of them that don't do well, you bring in the players that you bench for Wednesday. So a lot of people said to me, why have you got Lewandowski on the bench? Well, my whole bench, Gribic, Bergwijn, Torres and Lewandowski, all of them were playing on the Wednesday. The stupid thing is, I didn't even forget to make the transfers. I just kept delaying it in case we got team news. But that's so stupid because, like, Nuno Mendes, 2 points. What if Lewandowski didn't start? I would still have subbed him in because there's a chance he could have come off the bench and get something anyway, which is exactly what happened for Ferran Torres. So he didn't start, but he came off the bench and got a goal and assist. So when you've got players like Nuno Mendes with 2 points, Chilwell with 3, João Mario with 3 as well, you might as well, I'm not going to make this mistake again. I should have just taken them straight off as soon as I remembered to do it before the deadline, and then put those players from Wednesday on. Because realistically, the most I was going to lose was like 2 or 3 points. And in the end, I've missed out on 40 points, right? And I would have definitely brought all those players on. I would have captained Lewandowski as well, because I captained Neymar and he only got 5 points. And I remembered around 5 o'clock UK time, 45 minutes before the deadline. And then I think I had to help with maths homework with my son. Like, he was doing maths homework and there was other stuff going on, and I just forgot to make the subs. And like, it's really frustrating because I finished on 79 points, and if I just go to leagues, you can see the overall league. Like, I'm 561,000 in the world. Had I made my subs and got those extra 40 points, I would have been on 119. I would have probably been around the 5k mark. So it is pretty annoying that that happened, but look, it is what it is. I think Marco Reus did really well. Guerrero obviously did really nicely. The funny thing is, I had Grimaldo from Benfica at one point, and I just ended up just taking as much money out of my defence as I could. And to be fair, Otamendi and Silva both got 9 points each, but Grimaldo beat both of them because he got the goal. I think he got an assist as well and a clean sheet, and I think he was player of the match as well. So things could have gone better, but ultimately I think I did really well. I reacted to the team news that Maya was playing for Dortmund as well, and obviously they had a good fixture, so I played him. So things went really nicely. Mbappe, I ended up getting him because I took all that money out of the defence. I went for him over Benzema. So I made some really good decisions. I just should have made those subs when I remembered, and I won't make that mistake again for Matchday 2. So it's unfortunate. I could just stop playing. I have considered doing that, but let's see what we can do, right? It's going to be a bit of a challenge now to climb up the ranks, so we'll look ahead to Matchday 2. So let's look at who the strongest teams are for Matchday 2. This is from a website called 538, which has a soccer power index, which is a rating system to determine who are the strongest teams are, who's most likely to win and draw, etc. Right? So this is for Matchday 2. Now, if you remember my strategy from the first video, Matchday 1 was essentially a free hit because I'm going to use my Limitless chip in Matchday 2, then I'm going to wildcard in Matchday 3. So just before we look at the fixtures for Matchday 2, one of the reasons I want to wildcard for Matchday 3 is teams will play the same clubs in Matchday 3 and 4. They'll play them home and away. So for example, Bayern Munich have got Pilsen, so obviously you can load up on 2 or 3 players from that team knowing they're going to play them again in Matchday 4. Man City have got Copenhagen. Look at that, 91% chance of winning, only 1% for Copenhagen winning. Real Madrid have got Shakhtar Donetsk, and then there's another really big one as well. Yeah, Juventus obviously got Maccabi Haifa, so we're probably not looking at Juventus players right now, but we might be looking at them in Matchday 3 and 4. Same with Liverpool players as well. So I am looking to wildcard next week. So this week is the Limitless chip. Again, I think PSG, 3 players from them is absolutely essential this week if you're on Limitless. Maccabi Haifa, they're really, massive favourites to win that, as you might expect, right? And I said this on the first video. I know some of this is obvious, like Man City are favourites to beat Dortmund, but I think it's interesting to see just what the gap is in terms of this rating system, which is pretty good. So for example, I had Lewandowski and Ferran Torres, and I looked at defenders for Barcelona in Matchday 1. I'm not going to do that this week because they're playing away to Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich are favourites for that match. So I think the ones I'm trying to target are PSG, probably Real Madrid slightly, Man City as well. I think possibly Porto, maybe a defensive player from Porto. I think Liverpool, playing at home to Ajax, I probably have 1 or 2 Liverpool players in there, but I am a little bit worried about how they've been playing. Maybe the little bit of a break last week in the Premier League might help them, but they've not been great. Inter Milan would be good against Pilsen. I think the issue there is you probably want like someone like Lukaku up front, but he takes up a forward spot. And I think when you're on a limitless chip, there's better forwards to go for. So these are the fixtures that I'm targeting. Inter Milan, probably PSG, Real Madrid, Man City, Porto, and maybe a little bit from Chelsea. They're the main fixtures I'm looking at because I'm on a limitless chip and I might as well go for the highest upside. Okay, so let's build the Limitless team for Matchday 2. I'm going to do what I did last week and just talk through the team as I'm making the picks. For anyone that doesn't know what the Limitless chip is, it's a bit like the free hit chip from FPL. So I've got my team from Matchday 1. I then Limitless chip in Matchday 2, so I get a team for 1 week only. And then in Matchday 3, I get my Matchday 1 team back, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to wildcard anyway. The biggest difference between Limitless and free hit is you have unlimited money to spend on the Limitless chip, right? So you can get whichever players you want. It doesn't matter. Money is no object. So that's one thing to think about. So if we go through the teams that I'm going to be targeting, I think the big one is on Wednesday, Paris Saint-Germain versus Maccabi Haifa. I need 3 players, and to be honest, I think the 3 players from PSG pick themselves. So I'm going to keep Mbappe. I'm going to keep Neymar. I think a lot of people commented on the last video that Mbappe is the main penalty taker, but even if he doesn't take it, it's going to be Neymar instead of Messi. And I just think from watching that first game from Matchday 1, Neymar and Mbappe just seemed a lot more closer to goal more often than Messi, right? So we all know how good Messi has and still is, but has been and still is. But I think if you're going to go for 2 forwards, you probably go for those 2. And I don't want to use the 3rd forward slot on Messi. So the next player that goes in from PSG is definitely Hakimi. I think in Matchday 1, I tried to take as much money out of the defence as possible and go for Mendes. But again, watching that game, Hakimi is definitely the wing-back to go for in that team. So they are 3 easy picks. I then have a look at Man City, I think, against Dortmund. I'm probably going to at least double up, possibly triple up. So we'll just do the obvious ones first. So Haaland definitely, and I mean, this guy cannot stop scoring against his old club. He's almost certainly going to start, so he has to be in. And I think Cancelo as well, because if Walker is still out and Gomez plays left back, Cancelo's on that right, and he's probably even more creative on that side than he is on the left. So again, those 2 kind of pick themselves. I think one of the issues with this week is most of the players you want are on the Wednesday, which is not necessarily a major thing, but you're going to possibly have to bench some really good players on the Limitless chip. And if your players from Tuesday do really well, they're going to sit there. So it's going to be important to choose the right players for the bench this week. Just looking at this now, just trying to think, so I think with Real Madrid, I probably want to go for at least 1 player. They're playing at home against Leipzig. I think from Matchday 1, didn't Leipzig get battered as well? Yeah, 4-1 to Shakhtar Donetsk. Not good at all. So I definitely want a Real Madrid player. The problem is, obviously, I've got no... Sorry, it's a lot of scrolling, I know, but there's no place for Benzema, so he's not going to be in. I'm not even sure if he's going to be fit. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, he went off in the last game. But Vinicius is someone in midfield who's 10 million. Usually probably wouldn't have a slot for him, but with unlimited money, I can definitely fit him in. So I'd have him in there as well. I think I need some players from Tuesday. So given that we've got unlimited money, I think, interestingly, if you look at the match day, if you look at the ratings from 538 for match day 2, Spurs are only 34% to win. Obviously, it's away from home, so it's not necessarily that easy either. But I think because Son is a midfielder in this game, I'm going to have to put him in. And I think I'm probably going to target a couple of Liverpool players against Ajax as well, just because I need some players from Tuesday. So we're going to put Son in. Let's see where he is there. He's 10.5. Again, I'm not going to keep talking about prices. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to go for Salah. And I know he's not been fantastic. But again, if we look at who the captaincy options might be from this first day, I'm not seeing a standout. Like, I can't get Lukaku against Pilsen. I'm not going to captain someone from Rangers, Porto, Leverkusen. I'm looking for mainly players at home. Possibly someone from Bayern. I know they're playing Barcelona, but obviously Bayern themselves are a really great team. So I could possibly go from someone there. But I think it's probably going to be Salah against Ajax at home at Anfield. I just think there isn't a huge amount of other options there. So Salah's in as well. And I think I'm probably going to go for Trent, even though there was all those clips from the first game against Napoli where he just didn't do well at all. But I think he's going to be in there. In terms of goalkeepers, I'm kind of stuck between two for match day 2 for the Tuesday night. I think I'm probably going to go for Porto's goalkeeper. So if we just bring up Porto here, let's go there. I think he is cool. Yeah, Diogo Costa, 5 million. He only got 1 point in match day 1, but I think I'm going to go for him. Now, the other option I'm looking at is Inter Milan goalie Handanovic. I know it's probably one of the easiest fixtures you're going to get in the group stages against Pilsen, but it's just away from home. And I think when I looked up the clean sheet odds, I think Porto was slightly higher in terms of odds against Inter. It's very close, so I'm not sure about that, but I'm probably going to go for Porto's goalkeeper. And then for the second day, I'm just trying to think who I had before. I think I had... Who was it? Oh, yeah. I think I went for the Inter Milan goalkeeper against Dynamo Zagreb because obviously I'd rather have like PSG goalkeeper or Man City, but I think I'm going to use another slot to have Kevin De Bruyne in my midfield here. So I'm probably going to go for the Milan goalkeeper. So I'm going to double up on the AC Milan or Milan, Maignan. Probably got that wrong, but that's my Wednesday goalkeeper. And I'm also going to go for Theo Hernandez. Just check I've got the name right. I'm kind of out of my comfort zone talking about Champions League teams. But yeah, Theo Hernandez, 6 million. I think he's on penalties. So he's in my team as well. So I'm actually going for the double up there. And I've not got too many slots to fill. So I think De Bruyne will definitely be in. I think because Man City are at home and they're just so strong anyway, I want the triple up. So Haaland and Cancelo are definitely in. Probably go for De Bruyne. Someone like Foden usually plays as well. But I think De Bruyne is kind of the kind of second attacker that I would always want if I could. The other option would just be to get Edison or someone like that to have that goalkeeper on the second day. But I think I'm going to go for the De Bruyne play instead. And then I've only got 2 slots left for one defender and one midfielder. And I think I'm going to go for Chelsea players. Again, if we look at the ratings for Chelsea, they're at home 46%. So it's not that clear cut, but I'm thinking about other players I might want who've got like attacking defenders, very good midfielders like Sterling, for example. And right now, I just don't see another team here that I want to target that's got a player that I also want. So maybe one thing I need to do is look up Porto players to see if there's any decent kind of midfielders and attack. Not forwards though; it'd have to be midfielders. So if we look at Porto, for example. And we take out Kevin De Bruyne. I just looking at that. I got to be honest. I don't know a huge amount about them, but the fact they're 5.5 million, I'm not really sure that I want to go for any of them. Like in place of someone like Sterling, for example. So I'm going to go for. I think I'm going to fill up the last spot with Sterling, and then the last defensive spot I'm going to put Reece James. Obviously, this will be the first game that Potter has been in charge for, so it's a huge game for him. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him as well. But I think because I've got unlimited money, I don't need to worry about who's going to start out with Chilwell and Cucurella. I'm just going to play Reece James. So I think the team will be something like that. So I'll confirm those transfers. And then if we look at the dates, I think the key thing here is to put the correct players on the bench. So Trent and Salah and Son are all playing on the 13th. So the way this team is set up, and I'm a little bit worried about it, is if Son, Salah and Trent all do really well, I guess I shouldn't be too worried because they've got points, but I'm not then going to be able to sub these players on. So I've got to make sure that I keep the correct ones on the bench. And I think I've got to play 3 defenders. So Hakimi and João Cancelo probably slightly better than Reece James. But the problem is, Theo Hernandez, like if he's going to take penalties and they get one, do I really want him on the bench? It's difficult, but can I then bench Vinicius Junior, De Bruyne? I'm not going to bench Mbappe and Neymar and Haaland, that's for sure. So I think I've just got to keep the Chelsea boys on the bench, and then Theo Hernandez as well. And just if Son, Salah and Trent, if one of them blanks, then I just sub them on. So I think that's how I'm going to set up. I would ideally like a couple more players from Tuesday, but I don't want to get worse players in just because they play the day before. So I think I'm going to go for something like that, and obviously goalkeeper will swap as well. So that's how the team is looking for match day 2 with a limitless chip where I can have unlimited money to spend. Let me know down below if you think there's someone else I should look at. I guess one of the key traps not to fall into is to just pick a player because they're more expensive. But I think when you think of the setup of this team. Like having Kevin De Bruyne, he is the one that's usually nailed on. You know, obviously forget Haaland, we're going to have him anyway, but in that midfield, he's always pretty much playing every single game. So I think having him, and all the Premier League teams have had a rest as well because the games got postponed. Vinicius Jr., having him instead of Benzema seems okay to me. Salah's the penalty taker. He takes up a midfield slot instead of a forward slot. So it kind of all just makes sense. And I think for a lot of this, it just picks itself. So if you've enjoyed that video, make sure to give it a like, hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you've got any questions down below. And if you think that this team looks rubbish or there's other players that I should consider, leave a comment and I'll get back to as many as possible. Otherwise, I'll catch you next week for another Champions League video. And for FPL, that content is coming soon. Do not panic. So if you like that video, give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you again soon.